There's no doubt that some of the best characters in the world of animation are the Minions. But did you know that in the past, they were once robots and multicolored little monsters? The Minions were officially introduced to the world in 2010 with the release of Despicable Me, and simply by speaking in a language that no one could understand with incredibly cute voices, they became a global phenomenon almost instantly. Moreover, the movie showed that while they could make adorable gifts for their boss's new daughters, they could also operate missile launchers and handle other destructive tools, showing that while they are innocent and silly, they can be very dangerous. And even before they appeared on screens, we can say that it was quite challenging for Illumination to define what Gru's Minions would actually look like. At the beginning, the film's creative team had different ideas for the Minions, which could have led them to being a group of humans working as henchmen for an alternate version of Gru, before being transformed into a group of small men who would work mainly as Gru's mechanics. And as a third option, the Minions would have been a group of robots controlled by artificial intelligence who served Gru but spent their free time dancing ballet with his new daughters. However, none of these versions were well received, leading to the idea that they should not be human at all. This resulted in the first designs of Minions as small beings wearing visors with various colors tested, such as red, but yellow was chosen for being more appealing. Even so, the designers felt that some improvements could be made, so the small henchmen took on the form of Elma chip snacks, with round heads and dark eye visors, which were later modified to transparent eye visors. Finally arriving at the Minions design that we know and love, which, as we mentioned, appeared in 2010. But believe me, this was just the beginning of a journey for these small yellow beings that shows no signs of ending. You know what's coming next, right? Get ready for another Cinewave! When the Minions first appeared in the initial film of the franchise, it became clear that their strength was definitely not intelligence, but they were certainly very helpful and loyal to their master. While they could be very evil, we see that they got along very well with Gru's three new daughters, Margot, Edith, and Agnes. Their loyalty to their boss is evident when we see our now ex-supervillain informing his minions that he didn't get the loan needed to complete the rocket and steal the moon. At that moment, the little yellow beings donate all their resources to help complete the project. And if that wasn't enough to prove that they love working for Gru, at the end of the movie, the minions form a human chain and end up saving Margot and her father, who were about to fall to a certain doom thanks to Vector. These were just the first demonstrations that the little beings who love villainy were just taking their first steps in the world of animation. Right after the movie, Illumination, the creators of Despicable Me, had the brilliant idea of releasing 3 short animations, each around 4 minutes long. In these, the Minions return in 3 different stories. In the first, called Banana, it's truly proven that after causing mischief, the thing these yellow beings love most is the fruit that suits them best.
Banana.
In the second, besides the Minions, we see Gru and his daughters again, who receive a visit from a government official checking if the home is good and safe for the children. So the yellow beings help the girls renovate the house to make it just right, ensuring that the inspector approves the girls stay forever. And in the third, 3 new Minions go through quick training and are then assigned to do a very important job, transporting bombs using their bare hands. Since they are not very smart, of course, everything ends up exploding in the end. Thanks to the huge success of these yellow beings, besides serving Gru, they also became the mascots of Illumination, appearing in the opening of all the films produced by the company, starting with The Lorax, which was the next animated film from the studio after Despicable Me. And since today's video is about these little yellow beings, if you've laughed at least once with them, comment below with #Minion. After becoming so beloved by the audience, it's really impossible not to like the Minions. They made another appearance in Gru's second movie. This time, they weren't just the loyal servants of the world's greatest ex-villain, but they also played crucial roles in El Macho's plan for world domination. With Dr. Nefario's help, he wanted to create an army of monstrous, indestructible purple minions. This would make him an unbeatable villain, but everything worked out in the end, and our little minions turned back into their yellow, adorable selves after being hit by a barrage of low-quality jelly made by themselves at the beginning of the movie. In other words, as we mentioned, the movie revolved heavily around our beloved Minions, and many consider it the best film in the franchise. Shortly after, a short animation was released where we see 2 Minions working in Gru's mailroom, and one of them accidentally gets splashed with Dr. Nefario's potion, causing him to keep transforming back and forth into a monster Minion. I really enjoyed this Minion short. It was hilarious! Since the Minions were already established as a global phenomenon, Illumination soon released the first movie where the yellow beings were the sole protagonists. This allowed us to discover the true origin of Gru's little servants, who were born millions of years ago and are practically immortal. Moreover, we see that their previous masters ended up dying because of them in one way or another. But most importantly, we got to meet Scarlet, and by the end of the movie, we even saw a cool cameo of a young Gru. This was definitely one of the biggest animation successes of that year. The following year, to keep the Minions fresh in our minds, we saw them once again acting as mascots for Illumination during the opening scene of both movies where the company's logo is displayed, with a special appearance by the Little Yellow Beings. This was the first and only time the company released 2 films in the same year, and the best part is that both were hugely successful. If one movie isn't enough, and 2 are great, then when it comes to Despicable Me, 3 is definitely not too many. Just 2 years after the release of the Minions solo movie, we were treated to the 3rd film featuring Gru and his family. And once again, the world's most famous yellow characters took center stage, as this time, even if only briefly, they ended up rebelling against Gru and quitting because he was no longer as evil as he used to be. After wandering aimlessly, they win a talent show and even form a gang that manages to take over the prison where they end up. But after all that, they start missing their master and return to help him defeat the movie's villain, Brat. If you love Minions, Gru, and all the great animated movies, we have good news for you. We post videos about this every day, so click the subscribe button below and join us. Not long after the 3rd Despicable Me movie, we see Gru's loyal minions making another special appearance, but this time at the very beginning of The Grinch, which is centered around Christmas and was released in 2018 as Illumination's big production of the year. In fact, the following year, we saw the Minions and The Grinch together again in a short Christmas animation for 2019. Between 2019 and 2021, Illumination released sequels to 2 of the films they had launched in 2016, The Secret Life of Pets and Sing. And once again, the opening featured the Minions, who by now had become more than just the face of Illumination. They are practically the embodiment of the company. 5 years after the 3rd Despicable Me movie and the first Minions movie, Minions: The Rise of Gru, was released, where we once again saw the Little Yellow Beings as the protagonists. This time, we also got to see how Gru started to become, or at least began the journey toward becoming, the great villain we know from the first movie. And I have to say, seeing the Minions turned into animals saving Gru was definitely one of the coolest scenes in any animated movie I've ever watched. Minions: The Rise of Gru was one of the best films I've ever seen. The following year, we saw Illumination stepping away from their usual lineup and releasing, for the first time, a movie based on a video game. But it wasn't just any game, it was the most famous game in history, Super Mario Bros. And of course, the Minions couldn't miss the chance to make an appearance and represent their creators once again. I have to admit, I couldn't help but imagine what a Mario Kart race would be like with the Minions driving cars built by Dr. Nefario. That would be incredible. To wrap up the Minions' journey, after 14 years of existence, we saw their latest appearance, at least for now, in the 4th Despicable Me movie. In it, the Little Yellow Beings are forced to work for the Anti-Villain League, and 5 of them end up transforming into a variation of Minions we've never seen before, the Mega Minions. Once again, they played a crucial role in the movie, even if they only appeared after Maxime Le Mao was almost defeated. But it was definitely awesome to see the Minions wearing those black suits. Honestly, they looked pretty cool. As expected, Illumination has already confirmed that the 3rd solo movie featuring the Yellow Beings is in production and even has a release date, July 2027. The story is still a mystery, but it's sure to pick up right where Minions: The Rise of Gru left off, which means we'll see the Yellow Beings helping a teenage version of Gru in his quest to become the greatest villain on Earth. This is definitely a movie I won't miss. Minions are probably the funniest characters in the world of animation, and since we have so much fun with them, we've picked out 2 videos for you to continue watching more awesome stuff with us. Just click on the one you want to watch first and sit back and relax. Thanks, and see you next time!